Honey, you wouldn't hurt me, would you, sweetheart? Sweetheart, be reasonable. After all, we're married.
Consider that a divorce.
That was your wife? What a bitch.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another Citizen Frame. I am Ciaran, your host. Joining me is the usual misfit, Trevor. What's up?
Get your ass to Mars. Great to be here. That was just an absolutely awful Arnie impression.
Wow. You just ruined this podcast.
From the start. Yes.
This is over. Well, goodbye everybody. Take care.
I was basically setting the tone right from the off. And it's not a very highbrow tone.
Before we start this, I'm going to throw you under the bus, Trevor, like I usually do.
Yep, go for it.
Yep,
I'm well used to it.
Yeah, I know. But it's not because I'm mean-spirited.
Yeah.
It's because a lot of people have this mentality that you have. No, and it's not. No, that sounds even worse. No, I am tired of people saying that Arnold Schwarzenegger is not a good actor. I'm going to tell you now, Arnold Schwarzenegger is not the greatest actor.
yeah, well.
But we talked about this in the last podcast, Interceptor, and there's a difference between movie stars and actors.
Yes. I 100% agree.
A movie star has a presence. That's all he needs. Dolph Lundgren has a presence.
Yeah.
But Schwarzenegger has that. There's something about him that's likable.
Yep.
And his lines deliveries. But when I put this in my head, very few actors can be movie stars and actors. We talked about that with The Fugitive. Harrison Ford did it.
Yes.
We think he can do both.
Tom Cruise can do both.
Tom Cruise can do both, exactly. But you know what? Fucking hell, man. I think we're all wrong. I think this guy can act. I think he is both. Because I'm watching this. I know people are laughing at me now, probably. But nobody could do this film. They tried to do it with a better actor, Colin Farrell. Didn't work. This guy has... And it's... Yes, but it's not just he's just standing there going, look at me, I'm Arnold. He's not. He delivers his parts well. You see his emotions in everything he does. The silly things, we'll talk about it when he's in pain or when he's feeling it. You can see it in his face. Clint Eastwood does the exact same thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying, Arnie is not, there's no real depth or nuance to his performances. However, I will say he's completely unique in that whenever he's on the screen, he has an amazing presence and you can't take your eyes off him. He is, and I love Arnie, and what I love about Arnie in his best roles, especially I think this is one of his best roles, are the ones where he plays them tongue in cheek, and it's a nudge and a wink to the audience, as I would say.
Well,
and that 100% works, and he totally pulls it off. And you know what I mean? He just.
But that doesn't make him.
He's very charismatic.
But that makes him an actor.
Yes, I know.
That makes him. He doesn't make him a bad actor, like people are saying.
He's not like. Let me finish.
He's not. Listen. Listen. He's not Lawrence. He's not Laurence Olivier.
Yes.
He even makes fun of himself in Last Action Hero playing Hamlet. but I'll give you an example. You just said about how he just uses that charisma. Terminator 2 is a perfect example.
Yeah.
He's emotionless in that entire film. But the way he gives you the lines and his look he gives at the end where he says goodbye to him and he's going to sacrifice himself, you felt so sorry for this character.
Because we love Arnie.
Yeah, but it does take some kind of persona and a presence to be able to pull that off.
Arnie is very uniquely talented, I would say. And I'm basically agreeing with you here. Despite what.
But okay, but can you at least say he can act?
Yeah, a bit.
Come
yes.
on, that's not
okay.
That's where
he can act with a small C. I'll give him that. He's certainly a hell of a lot better than charisma vacuums like Steven Seagal, and even to a certain extent, and I'm sorry to say it, Jean-Claude Van Damme, but Arnie is
Oh, no offense to anybody. Jean-Claude Van Damme, I'll give you that one. Cannot act.
no, yeah, and certainly not fucking Seagal.
Yeah.
But so Arnie, he oozes charisma and charm, and he has that. I mean, physically, he has an amazing presence, but and he has a very unique voice and stuff as well. So while maybe the nuances and the depth of his acting range may be limited, he makes up for them in other departments. He makes up for that.
Well, I agree 100%, but I think that warrants him to be an actor. Then
No, he's a movie star.
because if he can make adjustments to what doesn't work for him and what does, to me, that's an actor.
He's a movie star to me. Yes, he's an actor. He's acting in a film.
I'd give you more of he's more of a movie star than an
Yes.
actor. I'd give you that. But at the end of the day, I just think a lot of people have this big Egypt on the screen, and that's
No, he's not a big
I just
agent,
think-
and he's a very intelligent man. In real life, I mean, he has a very high IQ and stuff. So he's not just what he call. It's not just all brawn and no brain. Far from it. Same with Stallone, another very intelligent man, an intellectual man. So no, definitely not. He's not just some big sort of. It's not basically muscle porn when he's up there. You know what I mean? It's not all brawn and no brain. Arnie is. There's much more to Arnie and Stallone than that. So yeah, I'm agree with you here, Ciaran. Chill out.
I don't think I think at a point you said he can't act, and I think he can. That's all I'm saying.
Well, hold on a minute. I've seen Hercules in New York, so
Okay, now you're taking the hell away. It wasn't even his voice.
I know.
All right, let's just jump into it. I just want to get that off my chest. That's not just for Trevor's sake. That was for a lot of people think Arnold's not a good actor, and I don't think that's fair. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay. We're here to talk Total Recall. I remember seeing this in theater, and the one thing that stuck out is the fucking score. I love
The score is
of
very
this film.
Rambo-esque. Obviously done by the
Yes.
same guy.
Yeah, Jerry Goldsmith. It's just it's just gorgeous score.
And
This has everything going for it. Jerry Goldsmith, the fucking god of visual effects, Robotin,
yes.
who we've talked to plenty of times, RoboCop and The Thing, and Philip K. Dick,
Yep.
who we all love. We got Blade Runner, Minority Report. This one's based on We Can Remember. You Can Remember It for Wholesale. We Can Remember It for Wholesale. I think the short story was.
We can remember it for you wholesale.
Yes.
It also has
had-
Dan O'Bannon on board.
Yeah, he wrote it. You did
Script.
Alien.
Yep.
Good friends of John Carpenter. Mario Casar, Andrew Vazza, the producers, who went on to do the Terminators.
Paul Verhoeven.
Carlico Productions was there. They were huge
Yep.
in the late 80s,
Back
early
then,
90s. Then you have Arnold added to the mix. You can't beat that. You throw in fucking Michael Ironside.
Ronnie Cox, Sharon Stone.
And then you just copy and paste Ronnie Cox fill in from RoboCop.
Yep.
You put him in this one.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of similarities too. I noticed as well in this rewatch with Richter, Michael Ironside's character, to Clarence Boddicker. But and apparently they wanted Kurtwood Smith. Paul Verhoeven originally wanted Kurtwood Smith to play Richter, but Kurtwood Smith actually refused the role because he felt it was too similar to Clarence Boddicker.
I would agree with that one. And it does get a little too close home with Ronnie Cox. He sounds like Dick, from RoboCop.
It's basically the same character.
It's the same character. Not that I don't like to see our boy there, Ronnie.
And it's this is just this character he's basically played over 2 films, but that line he gives, whenever the air has been switched off and the mutants are down, and he just switches up, flicks the TV screen and goes, fuck him. Fuck him.
Hey, he's just a nice guy too in real life. Just,
dick.
So, and then yes, at the end of the credits we see the great Paul Verhoeven.
Yes.
Now he kind of became kind of a weirdo, but Jesus, this guy, him and Johnny Tiernan were the king of the late 80s. His stuff obviously being RoboCop,
Yeah.
and then Total Recall, and then Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
Then he did Basic Instinct, which I thought was shit, and then he did Showgirls, which is the biggest piece of shit.
Yeah, he went off the rails.
Yeah, he just vanished. The same thing, Johnny Tiernan, he kind of went nuts and he vanished himself.
Yeah.
But we knew this was the guy to do this role, to do this this film. And
although Cronenberg was originally attached to it, and it would have been, I mean, obviously we can't judge a film that was never made, but it would have been very different. See, in the original story, basically Quaid is known as his name's actually Quail, is actually more of a sort of office worker, pen pusher type. He's not a buff. It was actually apparently Arnie that suggested turn him into like this construction worker. So apparently they originally wanted Richard Dreyfuss to play the role. No, but the character would have been very different in that he would have been like this office worker who discovered he was actually a secret agent, as opposed to the construction worker.
Yeah, no, I mean, I haven't seen the project. You know what I mean? I could.
Yeah, we can't.
judge
Yeah,
it.
we're just sort of it was never made, so we can't actually say anything. But Cronenberg's would have been very different and much darker.
Would have been shit.
Well, we can't say that. But don't.
No, yes, it would.
You can't say you can't judge. You can't critique a film that was never made. You don't know. You don't know that, and I don't know that.
Would have been shit. You call Arnold Schwarzenegger a bad actor. I'm calling Cronenberg would have made this movie shit.
You can't. I can't say it would either be good or bad because it was never made.
Cronenberg can't do action films.
But it wouldn't have been an action film if Cronenberg had made it.
Well, God,
it would have been. It would have been a mystery thriller.
Horror.
It would have been a mystery thriller. I would imagine.
Yeah.
It certainly wouldn't be what it eventually became.
Comic book.
But it's fucking. But it's the great thing about it is it's an action film on one hand, but on the other hand, it's actually a very, very clever story. That's something like fucking you would expect from Cronenberg or David Lynch or something, because it's very complex.
Well, keep in mind, guy, this is Philip K.
Of course,
Dick.
yes, yeah.
So this guy was way ahead of his time. And
He'd been up there with the sort of science fiction writing greats like Harlan Ellison and people like that.
well, he's the one who every time you see like whether Blade Runner,
Yes.
Total Recall, or Minority Report, just name a couple of films that they've done on his stuff. He's predicted stuff that's available now.
Yes, of course.
That are in films back in the 80s that that's never happened.
Video phones?
Now they are.
For a start.
Yeah, everything.
Multi-channel fucking, these big TV screens and stuff. Yeah.
So the opening sequence is the best. So yeah, he's having this dream, right? And when they fall off, they're having this dream. Oh, I love you, with Melina and Quaid, and they fall and they start. They're in Mars and they have no oxygen.
Yes,
and their heads could start looking like. You know what they look like? I don't know if you guys got them over here. You know those pressure dolls you could buy? They got like big bellies and you squeeze them.
Right.
And
sounds vaguely familiar. Yeah.
Eyes and tongue come out. It's pretty much what this is.
The effects for them with the eyes popping out are really hokey.
So good.
But they.
Oh,
no, let me finish. But they pull it off because again it's tongue in cheek, and they're so fucking insane. You know what I mean? I don't think that would happen. I mean, I don't know. I've never been to Mars, and I've never fallen into an atmosphere that had no air, or no atmosphere, for want of a better phrase. But I'm not too sure if science works that way, where your eyes pop out. But it's a huge amount of fun and really memorable.
His eyes are popping out. It's awesome.
How the fuck did he survive that?
So
How do you survive that? And I'm talking about later on.
That's impossible. Well, I'll give it to him because it's a dream, but we'll get to that.
But
in
is
the ending.
it a dream? No, at the start, but then later on.
Yeah,
I'm talking about.
We'll talk later on. We'll talk about that part. But listen, we got Quaid, Melina, Laurie, Cohagen, Richter, and then we got a couple of Quanto, Benny, Helm, and Dr. Eggman. They're kind of the main people
I
here.
love Benny,
but
I love them all.
This is one of those films where it's Running Man, because you like everybody, even though they're so evil. They're just so over the top. Nobody's just evil.
Yeah, pantomime, but it's done with again, as I say, it's done tongue in cheek, and you're in on the joke with them, and it's just and the fun that they're obviously having making it comes across, and then you jump on board with them. It's
exactly.
Brilliant. So it is, and I love stuff like this. This is pure entertainment. It's there's a bit of James Bond in there as well, and it's just North by Northwest, Hitchcock, and it is what I noticed again on the rewatch. I just rewatched it last night. It's non-stop. It never stops to take its breath.
Yeah, it's one big chase scene,
pretty much.
And this is Sharon's did a couple of movies, boy, did she get lucky with Basic Instinct, because I think once Basic Instinct hit,
Yeah.
her acting turned.
This is
She's
her
a better
best role, I
actress.
think.
No, no, I'm going Quick and the Dead.
Yeah, I
Sam
love Quick
Raimi.
and the Dead, to be fair. That's brilliant.
But she's bad acting in this. But I think she's supposed
She's
to
not
ham it up.
but
I think
you know what
she's supposed to
she's.
ham it
You know,
up.
there's one particular moment where she's really bad when she's just talking to Richter on the video phone, and she like blows him a kiss, and it's like, what the fuck? But even when she comes into Arnie later on, which we'll get to, where they're trying to convince Arnie that he's actually having this schizoid embalmment or whatever you call it, some fucking jargon, and he needs to take the red pill, which actually preempted the Matrix. Whenever she comes in, her acting's a bit. She looks amazing, and she's brilliant in the in the fight scenes. But yeah,
Let me ask you this: so when he decides he wants to go to recall,
Yes.
to have this implant, this is what kicks it all off.
yes,
But when he first goes to recall, the guy selling the package doesn't want him to go to Mars. So does this guy know?
oh yeah, this is all on purpose to basically add ambiguity. Even whenever he is working, with his workmate, the wee sort of stout guy, and he says, "Do you ever go to? I'm thinking of going to recall." And his work colleague basically at the building site say, "What? My friend, like a friend of a friend, went there and he ended up getting lobotomized." But then after it, he like stares at Arnie for ages. So there's all this ambiguity, but it's all intentional because
Oh, I know that, but my point is that if the recall guy's in on it,
Yes.
because we don't want Hauser to come out,
Yes.
that's what they're trying to avoid. Why would he do it? Let him do it then.
well, maybe he was doing it for the money, or maybe he didn't.
I don't think he
maybe
knew.
didn't know he was Hauser, and that was
He
just
didn't know. That's why
a lot of stuff is peppered in just to deliberately confuse the audience.
Okay, that has to be it, because at the end he just dumps his body
Yes.
because he thinks he's lobotomized because the thing doesn't
I
take.
say like return it, refund them and stuff and all that sort of thing. It's a lot of this stuff is peppered in, like the looks from the work colleagues before he goes to recall, and the stuff with the guy, the boss at recall and stuff. A lot of that's just there to sort of fuck with your head.
Yeah, all right.
It's all
I like
intentional.
I like after he wakes up from the recall, not past, and Harry and his friends meet him.
Yeah.
And he just beats the fucking shit out of them.
Yeah, it's completely over the top. It shoots, blows the shit out of them. But I also love the Arnie.
But I like that. He doesn't like knock them out.
Yeah.
He literally breaks their necks.
Oh yeah, I mean there is no restraint in this film, and we'll come to one of my favourite scenes in films of all time. It's so completely over the top, but I mean, and there's several instances of it in this film, and apparently it was also cut before it was finally sort of, because it was going to basically be an X certificate essentially. But even whenever Arnie throws a wobbler, you blew my cover. After he at first wakens up at recall, after they've injected him or they haven't injected him.
Yeah.
That's what the woman says. We haven't put the implant in
Yeah.
yet. But
That was a good line. I like that line.
yeah,
He goes, "What have you done?" He's living out the spy agent, whatever. And he goes, "No, why? Because I haven't implanted it yet."
yes,
that was a cool
He called her a
scene.
dumb bitch or something. Look, no, you stop.
Yeah.
And then he like she slaps the wee assistant guy.
Yeah, I know. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And then so after he kicks Harry in his friend's hand,
Yes.
he goes to Laurie. He goes back home with Laurie. Is it me or is Laurie like the worst shot ever?
Oh, yeah. She was pretty. Yeah, I think she was just there to try and entrap him with sex, basically, as opposed to actual skilled fighting. Well, she was pretty good at the kung fu stuff, to be fair, but not.
Yeah.
She was basically a rubbish shot. Either that, or he's really good at ducking.
No, you what? I mean, I don't. But either way, we find out that he's been erased for 6 weeks, and they kept using erased, which I always think of eraser.
Yeah,
with Schwarzenegger.
he's really Hauser.
Yes, he's really Hauser. But I like the little cool thing. There's like we mentioned, it's one big chase scene.
Yes,
and he's being chased by Helm and Richter
Yes.
and the guys. And I love the X-ray scene.
yes. Oh, when he jumps
But
through
it's
the like pane of glass thing, it's brilliant. So it is.
Yeah, it's just cool.
Yeah.
And the technology.
Yeah.
And when he finally gets a hold of a gun and he takes out 3 of Richter's men by just unloading the weapon on him. And I miss this kind of gore and violence. I miss my squibs.
I know, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. But and my favourite bit is on the escalator where he uses an innocent bystander as a human shield, and this guy's getting the absolute shit blown out of him. And
No, does he?
yeah, on the
I think it wasn't. No, I think he took the shot. I think he already was hit.
yes, he was already
So
hit.
he's
But
like-
then Arnie grabs
he
his
was-
body and has him like,
He's already dead.
yeah. But it's just so gratuitous and over the top, and a huge amount of fun.
Yeah, but I also think he did that because there's a little bit of Hauser in him.
Yeah. Or was there? Yeah, again, it's all, and I love this sort of stuff.
I liked it. And then when I love how they have all these cool futuristic toys.
Yeah.
And then, but Helm has a tracker which is the size of an Xbox.
That's right. That's right.
Like he could have like a little device.
Yeah. Yeah, and then whenever he's tracking Arnie, Arnie has at this point taken the bug out of his nose after being advised by himself.
I love that
Yeah.
scene. It still works.
Yes.
It's so good. Yeah. It's not him, but you still feel uncomfortable watching.
Oh yeah,
because it's just
pure
so.
because you hear like the bones crunching going up inside his nose, and then he takes this sort of chip of this sort of tracking device out of his head, out of his brain basically, and puts it inside one of the rats.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
So himself tells him to go to Melina.
Yes.
Get to Mars and go to Melina.
get your ass to Mars.
Yeah. And there we're going to be introduced to Ronnie Cox, Dick.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, sorry. Go ahead again.
Can I just say before that there is an absolutely beautiful shot. There was a lot of model work used in this.
Oh,
There's an absolutely
I
beautiful
forgot.
shot where Arnie is on the train on Mars.
Yes.
And
yes.
it pans up from the window, and you see like the mountains of Mars and all that there. It's brilliant. And it's all model work, and it's brilliantly
Nothing
done.
beats model work and matte painting.
Brilliant. Absolutely.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing beats it. Nothing. It can look cheesy. Don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
It-
no.
Takes
but
it.
this.
I actually think that kind of visual effects or background brings you into the film more.
Yeah, because it's real.
You're going into this whole new world rather than this.
It's real, and it feels, even if you do sort of know it's model work, it feels a bit alien anyway. So yeah, 100%. And in sort of the back of your mind, like that actual sort of care and attention and love for their craft has went into it by these model makers and these special effects guys. And that beats, I'm not saying CGI doesn't work completely, but for me, give me old school, with the models and actual sort of people sitting. I'm not saying CGI artists don't work, but to me this is the real deal,
I think the groundbreaking effect is coming up now.
Yes.
It is just astonishing.
Yeah.
Where he's dressed up as the woman.
Yes.
I remember seeing this in the theater, and nobody. But I think marketing ruined it.
Yeah.
But nobody saw this coming, and it was just an amazing effect. 2 weeks,
And it's such
2 weeks.
It's such great fun. It's such a great fun scene as well. And I love how Richter is walking off. Richter doesn't, but he's sort of like keeping his eye on it. And then he's walking along, and they're talking away about capturing Hauser and stuff, and getting Hauser back and all this here. But there's a bit of commotion going on in the background with the woman. 2 weeks, and then Richter eventually realizes, he goes, Quaid. And then another shootout and chase.
It's just so fun.
That's brilliant.
It is. It's just when you watch a movie with your smile on your face. That's what I'm talking about.
And I watched this completely with a smile on my face throughout. It's brilliant.
So Quanto, who's a freak.
He's a mutant. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get in trouble for saying that. I don't care.
No, not at all.
But he wants Quaid. Everyone should have this oxygen.
Yes.
And the reason Cohagen, he's trying to mine this thing called divinium.
Yes.
And in order for him to do that, he can't release the oxygen.
Yes.
Fully, or whatever that is.
But he wants to charge them and control them as well.
Yeah, so that's why it's not getting released. It's more about the mining up this mineral.
It's business.
Whatever it is.
He's basically a bastard, and it's about money.
Okay.
It's a business. It's for business reasons. He's like an evil businessman.
I like where the doctor shows up.
Yes.
And he's trying to tell with Lori.
Yes.
and they're trying to convince him you're still in a dream. And he's very good at this actor.
Did you notice that's also the same guy that's doing the adverts at the very beginning whenever Arnie's going to work on the tube? He's doing the adverts for Recall. For the memory of a lifetime. Recall. But he's doing the ads for it?
Well, he is, yeah. He's still playing that guy, though.
Yes,
character. Yeah. But he's trying to convince him, we need you to take this pill.
Take the red pill.
So we can recover you and get you woken up. And he's falling for it because the guy does sell it well. And then he sees the sweat.
Yes.
And he just blows his head off. It's just boom. And then Sharon Stone's like, "Oh, you did it now."
It's a brilliant scene, and it's actually quite a tense scene. And where she's going, "Oh, you've done it now. You've really fucked up," and all this here sort of thing. And then he then shoots her. So he does.
Yeah, this is where I was going to talk to you about, because when Melina happens to show up, how convenient.
Yeah.
And then she blows away the bad guys, and then Laurie and her have a little fight.
Yes.
And then Schwarzenegger, he goes, "Consider this a divorce," and he blows her head off.
Yeah.
Pretty brutal. Schwarzenegger shooting women.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it would have been more brutal if he had a header. I think. But with the shooting of it, it's quite tongue-in-cheek, and again, it goes back to the sort of dark comedy sort of edge to it. So, and to be fair, she was a bitch in trying to kill him and Melina, and she was basically also shagging Richter, so, she sort of had it coming.
Let me ask you this. Everybody wants to go to Mars. Why?
I know.
It's a shithole.
To be fair.
All it is a Hilton and a town full of whore freaks.
It's a film set, basically.
Well, it might be Vegas.
Yeah.
But who wants to go to this shithole?
Exactly. Earth must be really bad back in the year 2084 if everybody wants to go to Mars. You know who the only one who doesn't want to go to Mars because she hates it is Sharon Stone, Laurie. So she's the only one technically with a bit of flipping sense. It's a shithole. And they don't even have an atmosphere. And the air is rationed, by a complete dick in Cohagen.
So when you're introduced to Quanto, which is in the kind of this guy's stomach.
Yes. Open your mind.
Oh, that creeped me out. Open your mind.
Back in the 1990s, whenever there was in the UK, there was the whole rave nightclubbing scene, but there was a rave tune sort of dance track come out, and it samples that particular line, "Open your mind." But yeah.
Yeah, it just creeped me out. It just creeped me out. And then I but at the same time, he felt sorry for her because he's telling the story, and the whole time that fucking cabbie who's betrayed him, Benny.
Yeah.
He shoots Quantum right in the head, and it almost looks like a baby. Yeah. It's kind of disturbing.
Yeah, it is. And what does Benny say? "I got 4 kids to feed," and then Arnie goes, "What happened to the other one? What happened to number 5?" So, yeah, and that's when you find out Benny's a traitor. But before that, we've also been in basically a mutant strip club with with the one with 3 tits and all these mutant creatures.
I didn't mention it because it was just like I thought it was kind of silly. I just like
it wasn't, but it was done for. To be fair, it's done for.
Back then, I went with it. Now you watch, he's like, yeah, taking the scene out. I don't care.
And what about Tony? I like Tony, the grumpy barman.
Yeah, and then when they go in during the big chase scene, and they start shooting all these women and
brutal.
Richter goes in there and just slaughters everybody, and then Ronnie Cox turns the oxygen off.
That's right. Oh, they're complete bastards. You know what I mean? Very much in keeping with the bad guys in RoboCop, Verhoeven's previous film. And but you know what's pretty cool? Whenever the wee dwarf hooker stabs, what do you call him?
How do you say? I love how you say that with a straight face. Oh yeah, the dwarf hooker. Remember her?
Sorry, the dwarf mutant hooker, because he attacked the dwarf alien mutant hooker. Stabs. What do you call him? Is it Heist or something? Or what do you call Richter's right hand man?
Helm.
That's it. stabs him through the chest. Apparently there was a lot of cuts done before this film was finally released. Apparently his death scene, Helm's death scene, was even more brutally violent.
Well, I wouldn't put. I'm sure Verhoeven got cut. I mean, that's RoboCop is the same thing.
Yeah, and the scene on the escalators as well with the human shield guy. Apparently that was much more brutal as well. And what we did get to see was pretty brutal.
So there's no twist here. I mean, everyone's like, "Oh, Hauser's in." He's actually. I saw this coming when I saw it in the theater.
Yeah.
So Hauser is actually a bad guy. That's Quaid, who we know now. Mm-hmm. This whole thing was just a plan to. What was it again?
It was a plan to weed out Quato.
To weed out Quanto. So
yes.
He'd go to Mars, get Quanto, and then because of how if Quaid doesn't know he's Hauser, Quanto won't really see that.
Yes, and it was also to do with to get the Quato knew about the reactor and stuff, and also the backstory about this reactor that the ancient aliens on Mars had basically created millions of years ago. And also, then there's see the guys in the bar and stuff, the mutants. I don't believe they're not actually Martians. They are humans, but have just been mutated over years through living on Mars. They're humans.
I knew that. Yeah, I knew that. I know there was no Martians in this film.
No, but there's just the reference to Martians who created the reactor like millions of years ago to give Mars an atmosphere.
Oh, kind of like Moonfall.
Well, yeah, so there were aliens on Mars, but these guys, including Benny, who is a mutant as well, it's revealed.
So then Ronnie Cox, he decides Ronnie Cox needs to kill Hauser at this point.
It's actually Richter comes in.
Because at this point he's not going to change.
Yes.
Cohagen's not really going to kill him. He's going to turn him back. Well, he's going to... No, what happens is he's going to turn him back into Hauser, and this is where another fucking bloodbath. He gets out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but it's Arnold. We'll go with it. And he sticks everyone with those little fucking blades.
The spike thing.
The spikes that hold the arms together. He starts sticking them in throats. Blah, blah. He's going on me. and so he gets her out, and that's where Richter says at this point, we need to kill him.
We got to make a decision, sir.
Yeah.
And then he says, he goes, kill him. And then he kicks over the fish tank and sort of bad temper.
And then he's like, what about the oxygen? The people need it. Fuck them. And he just says it like that. Fuck them.
Fuck them. It's like, fuck them. Just so casually and just so blasé. It's just hugely entertaining. But it never, like RoboCop, it never feels nasty. It's almost like satirical. You know what I mean?
You can't complain about fucking Total Recall.
Never. Like,
and then you've got the scene where Richter and Ham are fighting.
Yes.
On the elevator.
Brilliant. I love this.
And Richter gets a great death.
Yeah.
He holds him and he obviously loses his arms. He's get cut off of the elevator.
See you at the party, Richter.
Did you say that?
And then throws his arms away.
Did you say that? I'll see you at the party.
Yeah, he says see you at the party, Richter, because beforehand, whenever Cohagen tries to put him under, to get him to come back as Hauser, after the process, he was meant to go to a party in Cohagen's house. He goes, come on, there'll be women there, and Richter will be there, and stuff, that's here. And that's why he says that, after he rips his arms off.
So, the big line I never got, Cohagen says to Melina and Quaid, because they're in this area where he's going to put the hand down, and it's going to release the oxygen all over Mars. And he goes, who cares what you want? In 30 seconds, you'll be dead, and I'll be home in time to have some cornflakes.
That's right.
What? Is that a reference to something I missed?
No. I think it just means, I know. I always remembered that line as well.
Cornflakes?
Yeah, it's just like he'll be home in time for breakfast.
Oh, okay. It's just a weird reference.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's maybe it's like more of a sort of British thing. I'll be home in time for breakfast, but he's obviously changed it to cornflakes. I'll be home in time for cornflakes. You know?
So they all get sucked out
Yes.
as the oxygen is being, being released into the air.
Yes. But it's taking its time.
Obviously, so Cohagen gets it. He explodes, whatever. You don't really see it, but he's dead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
And
his
the other
eyes
two
pop out completely.
Yeah, the other two are still changing, but I don't care. There's got to be effects to this. Like
Absolutely.
at the end of this,
You'd be
you would have at
either
least
dead or
stretch marks,
blinded, or
stretch marks, maybe.
yeah, or I mean, that your eyes just can't pop out like that, and you can't just like back to normal. You know?
Yeah, they look better. Like it was a facelift.
Yeah, and then their faces were like expanding and all as well, and it's actually pretty gruesome. So it is, and pretty, you feel claustrophobic. It's almost like the whole being buried alive or something. It's pretty brutal, like, not brutal, but more sort of. I don't know. It made me feel claustrophobic. Very effective scene, apart from the hokey effects and the whole stuff with the eyes popping out, which were a bit sort of over the top, but very memorable, and they get away with it because it's in keeping with the tone of the film.
Yeah, exactly, and
The over the top tone. Yeah.
It doesn't veer from the course much. It keeps the same tone. But guys, this is a Schwarzenegger classic.
It's one of his best films. I would between this and the Terminator, maybe Predator, I would say it's maybe the best Arnie film. Certainly one of my favorites, and one of my favorite films. Just all around.
The one thing about Arnie, besides his comedies, I like them all really. Got a couple of duds in there, but for the most part, Conan, Terminator,
Yeah.
Commando, Predator, Running Man.
So many of them.
I mean, Eraser. I liked.
I was just thinking last
True Lies.
last night. Arnie has starred in some huge, a massive amount of hugely entertaining films. As we said at the start, at the top of the show, it's basically the guy's a movie star, a bona fide 100% movie star, and his films, for the most part, we'll not talk about fucking Kindergarten Cop, but or Twins, but for the most part, his films are amazingly entertaining and over the top, pure fun.
Yeah,
And this is a classic example of them.
And you say that, but they're also well done. You always have
Yeah.
big names. Like John McTiernan was introduced pretty much with, after he did Die Hard, did
Yep.
Predator. Then you had Paul Verhoeven.
Yep.
James
Cameron.
You always had A-list directors behind him.
Yeah.
And the A-list directors willing to work with him. There's something there that they like. So that brings his movie star persona. Not only do we see it, but obviously the people behind the camera see it as well.
Definitely.
So there's something there that people want to work with.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, all his movies are just so fucking fun.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You just can't. You can't take his eyes out. You can't take your eyes off the screen.
100%. Yeah. I've always loved Arnie, and I always will.
Yeah. I mean, this goes without saying. This is a must own. I have it on 4K. It's gorgeous on 4K.
I first watched it whenever it was first released on video back in, I think it was like 1990 or so, shortly after. Well, as soon as it was released on video, because whenever I was a kid, me and my mate who were into these types of films together, we always had problems getting into these films at the cinema because there were 18 certificates back then, and it was always, oh, you have to have ID or whatever, and we used to try and make our own ID, and it was shit, and they never bought it, so we usually had to wait for the likes of the Rambo films, the Nightmare on Elm Street films, the Jason films to come out in video. So I saw this as soon as it was released in video, and I was blown away by it, and I still am, and I still love it to this day.
Yeah, I think most Schwarzenegger films hold up.
Yeah,
in all fairness, you can, and their rewatchability is endless.
100%. Yeah.
So.
And there's also for guys like ourselves of around our age, there's also that nostalgia factor.
Yeah, exactly. But no more Arnie.
Well,
he's still there, but I don't think we'll get this Arnie anymore.
No, I mean that was him at his peak, in his prime.
But he's got that TV show coming out. He plays an agent, secret agent.
Right, I'll have to check that out.
TV shows must be pretty good. I'd like to see him do something
Yes.
on TV. But yeah. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it. Keep the downloads and following coming. We keep growing every day, and it's because of you guys and word of mouth, and we appreciate all that you do.
Thanks, guys.
You can follow us on Facebook and Citizen Frame _podcast on Instagram. The new issue of Phantasmagoria is out now, available on Amazon all around the world, and Forbidden Planet locally.
Yep.
That's a wrap on Ireland. We don't know when we'll be back. That's pretty good.
That's the only thing Total Recall misses. Arnie saying, "I'll be back."
See, that'd be a good line to say in that movie, because he's in like a dreamland state.
As Hauser. I love the ambiguity at the very end too, as well, where you really don't know, is it a dream or did this really happen? You know, brilliant.
Yeah.
Or was it a recall plant or whatever?
I'm gonna say it happened.
Yeah. Well, the jury's still out with me, and I'm quite content with that. To sit and sort of ponder.
Of course you are. Of course you are. You're mad that they don't let you know who the villains are in Top Gun, but but you're okay with not be giving an ending.
But Top Gun's
not
not based on a Philip K. Dick short story.
No. You said I don't like movies that give me answers.
No.
Lighthouse, 2001.
Yeah, and Total Recall will be in there along with that, 100%.
But if you don't know who the bad guys are in Top Gun Maverick, damn you.
But that was just a bit of a cheat, you know what I mean? It was basically a corporative decision, you know?
No, just that is silly. You're being silly. Silly.
There's a method to my madness.
Do you want to watch a cheat?
Yeah.
It's called 2001 Space Odyssey.
No!
There's your cheat.
I disagree.
All right, guys. Have a good one. We'll chat soon.
Bye-bye.